There's just nothing to say here. Just look at this. I mean, how? Why? What? To begin, I join what sounds like an interesting campaign, which involved an oncoming siege beginning at level 5, or so the post said. I join with another player into this ongoing campaign. The method of weaving our characters into the plot was pretty simple. You guys were just there the whole time. No introduction of our characters, or the other characters, heck, not even getting caught up on events thus far, but whatever, that seems fine, until the DM starts the session without asking myself or the other player if our characters are done. I'm just choosing my class and he starts going. Again, whatever, maybe the guy's in a rush or something, that's fine. So we see a beacon in the distance, which serves as a distress signal. Okay, I thought, action time. The party starts making plans of how to help the city as the siege begins. Turns out, as we are making our way there, in about an hour of in-game time, the gates were already open and the city was already sacked. All defenses had crumbled. This was a water-deep sort of city in terms of size and defenses, so I was surprised that it fell so quickly. So the party plans to go and save civilians and take out the enemy leaders by sneaking into their camp later on. We're halfway there, and we get a long-winded explanation of a dragon battle above the city and how people are screaming and everything sucks. Then, we're stopped by a mysterious child sitting in a tree. This DM posts some emo demon child art in chat and starts laughing about it. Then we get a pseudo-philosophical rant about guilt and innocence for about half an hour out of game, so eventually a member of our party decides to interrupt them, and that pisses off this NPC. The child disappears from view, and before you blink, you feel a wound in your side. Turning around, you see her wielding a dagger-sized blade, which appears to be made of darkness. You suffer 20 points of damage. No attack roll, no save, no nothing. The guy is down half his hit points from one attack, which he could not resist. Naturally, he retaliates and attacks the demon girl. Before your blade can swing, she has disappeared again and has moved into the tree. She warns you that you cannot move forward towards the city. She says that you must suffer as her mother has suffered, that these deaths are your fault. Okay, so no roll to attack or anything again, so straight up brick wall NPC. Oh, and in case you were wondering if we pissed off this girl's mom at some point before I joined, I asked, and no, we did not. We had never interacted with this girl at all. We only saw visions of the mom, so now it's supposed to be super impactful when we watch the city burn, and it's all our fault because we did something which we didn't do. The party sits there for 20 minutes of silence in real life, and one player is just seriously down about all this. Can't imagine why. But I'm sitting there laughing on mute about how stupid it all is. The post said a game with a siege. Instead, we get trauma baiting and a little girl NPC wielding manifested edginess. So in short, I've lost 3 hours, which I will never get back. I decided to stick around for one more session of his campaign, and it was more of the same. No player agency and a full retcon after 30 minutes of playing by the players. Then I participated in a one-shot of his, and it was a Saw-themed thing with the exact same results, where we took damage from nothing and got to do nothing of our own free will. I think that fits. Every time I watch one of the new Saw movies, I take brain damage that's definitely not of my free will. Anyway, now we hit the juicy bit. I quit his campaign and joined a different one in the same server. The DM is nice and it sounds super fun. We finished session 0 and I'm playing a Kobold Ranger and everything seems pretty good. Then, just before session 1, a player drops and guess who's the replacement? But my old DM. For simplicity's sake, I will just refer to him as D for now on. D joins, and what is he playing in this level 1 campaign? A homebrew Mindflayer race, which gets second level spells right off the bat with a slightly toned down telekinesis ability. Oh, and his character is a prostitute. A prostitute, not like a funny or quirky character who does that kind of work in a fade to black kind of way. No, he plays it straight. He puts on an annoying as hell girl's voice, which sounds like a man blowing up a sandpaper balloon which fights back violently. He solicits every male PC and talks centrally to every NPC and does the same pseudo-philosophical ranting as before. For example, the party get pickpocketed by a bunch of gnomes, and what does D do? Well, he speaks to them telepathically and tells them they are free to go and they can keep their gold since they'll probably have a hard time making more money. One player character protests to this after being informed, saying that they broke the law anyway and he wants his starting gold back. This was the response. I am shortening it for your convenience. Well, they just needed to survive after all, and it's not like any of our hands are clean either. Then a satyr showed up and kicked one of the gnomes and took some of the gold. Then this turn, the other cheek BS goes out the window. D grabs the satyr kid and prepares to devour his brain. The satyr teleports away. Now this interaction with the gnome, which took over 3 sentences for the NPCs, took 20 minutes of our time. Now, just need to explain the main issue. What do you mean main issue? This guy's playing a tentacle waifu. How have you not gotten to the main issue yet? Anyway, now to explain the main issue with the guy besides the constant solicitation. Every 5 or so minutes, he stops the game and just does random crap. Which is funny because when he was DMing, it was like doing it with smoke signals, where every couple minutes you could get a message through. Never bothered with anything player character related, and he just whined when we got bored and started talking about out of character stuff when he wasn't talking. He stopped every attempt at fun and took over everything. Every dice roll, he would spend about half a minute humming and hawing. He also didn't use any online dice rollers while he was a player, so he never got a low roll. He berated the party constantly with long-winded speeches, and did less than nothing to make the experience interactive. I am using zero hyperbole when I say that among 4 total sessions, the one-shot took 2 sessions, of being a player in games run by him, I got a total of 9 actions that actually affected the game. I spent the majority of the time in the one-shot on the ground, dying from radiation poisoning, which stopped me from moving or talking, and most of the actions I tried to take were either ignored or blocked. Like attacking another shadow enemy and having my attack get blocked before he even knew what I rolled. He even said, "Oh wow, that actually would hit their AC, but it gets deflected and the shadowy figure just grapples you." The only action I managed to take that actually affected anything was about 4 attacks I made in the fight where there was no initiative, so I sort of just had to ask every so often if I could make an attack. The most annoying action block when he was DMing was when I tried to use my Echo Knight feature to swap places with my Echo Knight and attack some prison guards. After the shadowy figure encounter, the party was in a dungeon because we all were imprisoned, I guess. So, here's the play-by-play. I swap places with my Echo as a bonus action and attack with my bare hands. How do you attack when your hands are chained? I'll take disadvantage and punch with both at once. But you're chained to the wall. Teleported away from the chains. Are they magical? No, but they went with you like equipment. The chains extended to follow me? No, they're just still attached to the wall. Okay. This was so disheartening to me because there was only one person fighting and the other people were trying to get out of their cells with magic and keys, so all I could do was just this. But my Echo got killed after making 2 attacks, and I was denied from summoning it again even though I should have been able to, but D ignored me and moved on. That was the session I left and refused to play in one of his games ever again. If every attempt at fun is going to be stopped and every big moment will end up being anticlimactic, then why subject myself to it? Everyone else in the party received similar treatment, as every solution that was not strictly written out in the rule book failed. TLDR, DM plays a prostitute straight when he joins another game, and during his game, he doesn't let anybody do anything and refuses to actually put effort into making an even passable D&D experience. I feel like the tentacle waifu thing was glossed over a little bit, but alright, I'm moving on from it, I guess. Look, this is probably one of the worst DMs/players I've ever had to cover on this entire channel. This whole thing is just a mix of everything we hate. There's a little bit of cheating in there. There's a little bit of not caring about the rest of the party, narcissism. There's a little bit of edginess. There's a little bit of crappy DM railroading. It's everything. And I'm assuming that Demon Girl is a DM NPC. So if we include that, then we pretty much have every trope we've covered on the show so far, save for min-maxing. Seriously, this guy is the absolute worst. I'm not going to go on about these issues because I've already talked about them in other videos, and for some things like railroading and NPCs, I already have entire videos in Tabletop Tavern Tips covering those topics. So if you want to check those out, I've linked them somewhere, or you can check out my playlists if you want to learn how not to be this DM. But quite frankly, I think just being a decent person will allow you to not be like this DM. Alright, if you guys enjoyed this episode of RPG Horror Stories, then please do leave a like. If you want to see more episodes of this series as well as my other content, then please do subscribe to Crispy's Tavern. And finally, if you want to leave your own thoughts or stories, go down to the comments down below. In essence, like, comment, subscribe. I will go to bed now. Farewell.